We are going into yet another exciting episode of Plastic Surgery Uncensored with Dr. Radi Rahban. And the reason why I say that is because the more we talk, the more I want to talk. The more we go in.
Exciting.
It is, because we talked about boobs, but let's just go there. People are fascinated with butts now. Sir Mix-a-Lot, when he said, I like big butts, that was an unusual declaration 25 years ago. That was actually an unusual thing to say, I like big butts. Now it's like, we call that Tuesday. It's amazing to me. So let's start talking about, number one, how many people actually have those big shelf butts and how many people are getting help. Like, it's a thing now. It's surgery. They're getting surgery.
So let's talk about butts in general. So the first thing that we need to talk about is the whole idea of beauty, the beauty phenomenon, and the sort of the cyclical nature of beauty. So there was a period in the 90s where the ideal or the iconic beauty was someone like Pamela Anderson. Super thin, fit belly, big breasts. And that was the sort of the wave. And everybody,
but her butt wasn't even discussed.
Nobody even talked about her butt,
no.
Right? Because everybody at that time, the icon of beauty had shifted, right? And it was towards bigger breasts and thin bellies.
Yeah.
And so it's just a cycle of beauty. And there was a period of time, if you look at all the oil paintings from the 17th century, everybody was very voluptuous. Everybody was very, very white. Now everybody considered tan is considered beautiful. You know, so this is going to continue on till the end of mankind, okay? It just happens now the pendulum has swung towards fuller butts, and that's what the new craze is. I guarantee you, promise you, that within 10 years, it'll be something else. It'll be high arched eyebrows or really, the lips kind of went in conjunction with the butt. So that's just to kind of put it. What's catapulted it in such a rapid fashion is what always catapults things into a rapid fashion. Media. It's Hollywood, it's media, and now we have social media. So before we had media, TV and music artists, and now we have social media, which is just literally, pun intended, exploded the whole butt phenomenon. And
there was even talk at the royal wedding if Pippa Middleton had implants in her dress to make it. I mean, how? Yeah. It's a royal wedding, and they're talking about the butt of the maid. Like that's
butts have always been. Think about it. It's one of the cornerstones of sensuality of the human physique. It's not something new. It just happens to be it's reignited. Okay.
Okay.
So, but
back in the day, guys would say, "I'm a leg man. I'm a boob man. I'm an ass man."
So now it's come back full circle.
So there's more ass men.
Yes. So the issue is really the impact that the social media and media in general has made. I think what happened was that people used to strive for through exercise. The way to have a nice, round, beautiful, firm butt was
squats.
Period. Deadlifts and squats.
30-day squat challenge.
Right. So now, if you notice, 99.9% of the Instagram models, particularly even in my own gym, they do dress changes, and they fake a bunch of squats. And the reality is that they have had either butt implants or fat transfer or something else done to their butt.
I want to talk about the specifics of how to make your butt, if it isn't, like you say, natural squats. So what are your options to get a shapelier butt? You said implants. So implants are becoming more common, it sounds like.
Well, no, actually, they're on the decline. So what happened was when butt enhancement started to take its takeoff, it was butt implants. So butt implants have been around for quite some time. And I'll tell you the advantages and disadvantages of each. But in the recent, probably say 5 years, fat transfer, or so-called the Brazilian butt lift, which is just another name for it, has become.
How does Brazil get credit for everything?
Brazil gets credit for everything.
Everything.
Well, they also get credit for a lot of not sexy things.
I know.
So I think, but what happens is the new craze is putting fat in the butt, and the reason why that became so popular is because it's kind of a twofer. You get all this liposuction, so it makes other areas tiny, and in addition, you get this enhancement of your butt. And then the third category is one of the bigger danger categories is the injection of random stuff. Things like motor oil. There's a lady, I don't remember where she was. She was working out of her garage.
Florida. It was Florida. I remember that
Everything
case.
happens in Florida.
It does.
All the murders and all the
48 hours is always in Florida.
So they're having all kinds of random things injected in the butt. So let's take butt implants.
Okay.
So butt implants are the pro of a butt.
Because injectable, let's just back, there is no proper butt injectable. If you're getting something shot in, it ain't real.
Other than fat right now, no.
Okay.
There are things that they're doing, and they're like, it would be amazing, for example, if you had a Restylane or a Juvederm for the butt.
Right.
But as you know, the cost of a single syringe of Juvederm ranges from $500 to $1,000. You can imagine how many syringes that would take. So we're not there yet.
No.
But the implants, I mean, it's basically pretty simple. The butt augmentation implants are solid implants. They're not like breast implants that are soft and squishy.
So they're like the gummy bears.
They're like exactly. They're solid, but even firmer than gummy bears. And the problem is, and the reason why butt implants have never were that good is that you have to sit on them. And so what happens is you don't sit on your breasts. So breasts are just ornaments. They just dangle. They just hang. They don't require physical abuse.
Your butt's like the workhorse of your body.
You sit on them. You are moving, etc. So the one issue is that, you have this implant, it's sitting in your butt. They're uncomfortable. They tend to move. If you sit on them and long enough, the pocket starts to expand. They can rotate, they can flip, etc. Then fat transfer became this whole phenomenon because we got better and better at understanding that when we remove fat from the body and re-inject it, a percentage of that fat will survive. When we figured that out and we started to master or improve that technique, a whole new world of fat injections opened up.
Didn't they used to do that on your lips?
Correct. And the whole new world started to open up. But the problem, like anything, when you have a new technology and you don't know how to use it, bad things also happen. So what's gone on right now is this whole idea of sucking and injecting. There's no control. There's no finesse. There's no degree. It's just all or none. And so what you do is you liposuction areas, the love handles, the stomach, the arms, the legs, whatever, and then you process the fat, whatever method your doctor likes to use, and then you inject it into the butt, and some of it stays and some of it dies. Those are the two options. The advantages of that is because, again, you get liposuction done, and
it's your own fat.
It's your own fat. It's soft, and theoretically, it feels like your own butt.
But how much can you put in?
Well, here's the disadvantage. The disadvantage is, in my opinion, I think the problem with it is it's just gone crazy. Number one is, in order to get an augmentation of a butt, you need a lot of fat.
It looks that way.
You don't need a little bit of fat. You need a lot of fat. Remember, about half of it dies, so you need a lot of fat. So when you have an average girl, who's the most common candidate to show up for fat transfer? A skinny girl. A skinny girl who doesn't have a butt also doesn't have fat to remove. But nowadays, if you go online, they're sucking the hell out of everyone. So you're removing precious fat out of the arms, the belly, the inner thighs, the outer thighs, the that, the other, creating all kinds of...
So they don't have fat donors. Like, you can't get a fat friend and say, let's get a twofer here?
Yeah. No, unfortunately, you can't, unless she's your twin with perfect genetics.
Okay.
The problem is that you're creating damage when you're harvesting this fat.
Sure.
And one of the things that people are not thinking about is they're focused on this butt. They have this gorgeous ass, and they have all this rippling and irregularities and loose skin and dents from where they borrowed the fat. So that's problem number one. Number two is when you fill in the butt, you can't just keep stuffing it endlessly. And so they're getting a lot of, what is it you see on the news every day?
People are dying.
Death. People are dying. No other procedure in recent plastic surgery history has created as many deaths. People don't die left and right from breast dogs.
Or even rhinoplasties. Where's your nose?
So what happened is that when you inject this fat, and you inject it super aggressively, a lot of it, and in all the deep layers, people are injecting fat into the arteries, and they're getting emboli, what's called fat emboli. And people get blood clots that go to the lungs, then they kill them. They get pulmonary emboli. So now you're getting fat embolus. So they're injecting all this fat, and they're trying to create this massive butt out of this tiny butt by forcing so much fat into the butt that pressure leads the fat to go into the artery, and then it goes travel straight to the lung, and then you have a massive embolus and die.
So it's not just the foreign objects being injected. No.
It's
not just death by motor oil. You could die by your own fat if they're like jamming enough in.
Oh, it's happening. It's happening all the time. All the time. I mean, so much so that the American Society of Plastic Surgeons put out a warning. I mean, they haven't done this in decades, where they had to put out like a consumer aware warning and try to warn doctors like, hey, what you guys are doing is causing a lot of damage. So
how much butt surgery do you do?
The truth is I don't do a lot. Why? Because I don't I'm not a big fan of the butt implants myself. I think they just I like to do work that I would like.
So what do you do?
So I don't like the butt implants because I think they tend to make people look a bit fake and really they're very projecting and
You can
prominent.
totally tell.
Right. And the fat transfer, this is the problem. There's 3 categories of patients that come in for fat transfer.
Crazy, crazier, craziest.
Okay, there's 6 categories. So there are 3 categories are super thin girl who has no butt. She's the one who needs the fat transfer the most. She doesn't have fat to borrow from. I don't just suck fat from anywhere and kind of spite the whole body just for the butt. So
No.
I don't operate on her. Then you have the next category, which is someone who's really full figured, very heavy set, has a lot of fat to borrow from, but already has a huge ass and wants to look like a
wants it
cartoon
to poof up.
cartoon character. I want to operate on her. So the only people that I do fat transfer in is people who happen to have a decent amount of fat transfer donor site and a reasonable sized butt that I think I can enhance. So it turns out that that's actually very few people. And so I don't do as much of it, say, as everybody else is doing. It's not my go-to. I do it in the instances where I feel the patients are going to be super great candidates. Otherwise, I don't bother.
So in your wheelhouse, you think that if somebody's had maybe some sagging due to weight loss, it's really more about a lift than
Totally. Well, it's different. Well, it depends. Sometimes with weight loss patients, they need volume and skin.
okay.
So the majority of people getting fat transfer to the butt today are not people who have lost weight. They're just people who want bigger butts. So
I
that's just
can't even imagine. Like
yes, I know. The fact that somebody would want a bigger ass is an insane concept, considering that 10 years ago you were shamed for being a fat ass, so to speak.
Yeah.
So the reality is that for patients,
I was called. It's funny because in Latino culture, when we talk about anti-bullying, just so you know, in Latino culture, they pick the thing you're most ashamed of. That's your nickname. Like they don't even. So my nickname was culona because when I was a kid, I was chubby and I had this round little pop-up fat. I had a little.
you would have been an amazing Instagram model today. You would have made
Yeah.
today. You would have had you'd be an influencer. You
Yeah,
probably have 2 million followers.
Yeah. And now I have a middle-aged white woman with good credit ass because I lost weight and I ran and I worked out and now I have like a regular, and I'm not a culona anymore.
No more. So, but the thing with patients who have lost weight is there's some volume loss
Yes.
and there's some skin excess.
Yes.
So it's kind of a combo there.
All right. Well, now we know what's number 2 on my wish list. I believe we have covered butts because I don't want to get into the pop culture and the name calling. I mean, we talked a little bit off mic, but there's so many people now, like you say, that are influencers with the 2 million, forget the 2 million, the 30 million, the followers that really seem to be, butt centric.
Well, what's happened
Is it like the tulip bulb scare in Holland of the 17? Like, is that what's happening?
Well,
We're
what's
seeing it, so we want it?
Yes. I mean, the reality is that we are people. Humans.
Yes.
Humans are influenced. That's why there's things called influencers. And the current state of, first and foremost, let's begin by stating this. The overwhelming majority of women who post photos who are now driving the craze and the frenzy do not, and I underscore, do not look like the images they present. So
Wait. I want to talk about that in deep detail because I don't know that women, and not just young women, all women really understand that what they're looking at. If you were in the same room with, Kim Kardashian, she's only posting the very best lit, filtered shots.
Shots. These people have, and I know them because I have patients who come into my practice every week. I have taken care of them and their Instagram managers, and it is a well-known phenomenon that they Photoshop almost every single photo. I mean, there's a whole world of spoofs now where women are posting photos side by side of one with one angle and one with another angle, and they're unrecognizable, the two people next to each other. And the patients who come in my office don't look anything like the pictures that they post. And why the problem with that is not so much that they're disingenuous. The problem with that is it's generating this frenzy amongst young and middle, just women in general, that, oh my God, I got to look like this. And furthermore, it's creating this desire in men that that's what they want in their partner. So it's effing up the entire social order.
Gumming up the works.
It is.
Because, and I want to say this from a female perspective, it's illusory. We're holding ourselves up to a standard that probably doesn't even really exist.
No, it does. I mean, listen, don't get me wrong.
There are people that are naturally...
There's some people that are incredibly beautiful, incredibly lucky. They have amazing physique, but they represent the incredible minority.
0.0000000.
Right? And the rest of these people are faking it.
And because I want to just... The same with boobs. I want to bring the point when you talk about, and even as far back as a chorus line, tits and ass. When you go back to it, boobs and butt are composed of fat. So when you make the desire to be super thin, which is a standard that's been since Twiggy's day till today, you want somebody to be thin, but now layering on top of the anguish of thin, now we want you to be thin, but only most of you to be thin. There's specific parts of you where we want lots of fat.
Which is physiologically impossible.
Bananas.
So that is why we've gotten to this place where we are creating this iconic or idyllic.
We're trying to make human Barbies.
Right. Implants in the breast, fat to the butt, sculpt the belly, and, fat in the lips. And everyone, if you notice, it's not an accident. Everyone sort of looks the same on Instagram. And that's currently the biggest driving force of today's social unrest.
Okay.
And so, anyway, I think
agree.
it's food for thought, and you could talk about it till the cows come home. But I think we definitely hit it, and I think people need to just be careful.
We've covered butts.
Covered it.
We're good with butts. All right, we're gonna wrap it up. This has been another episode of Plastic Surgery Uncensored with Dr. Roddy Raban.